Ladies and gentlemen, hear me carefully. There comes a point in your life when you must make a decision, whether you will live for the applause of people or for the assignment placed on your life. And that decision will determine the quality of your peace, the clarity of your vision, and the speed of your destiny. Too many people are exhausted not because they are working too hard, but because they are explaining too much. Every time you make a decision, someone wants an explanation. Every time you set a boundary, someone demands a reason. Every time you choose growth, someone accuses you of change. But let me tell you something. When you constantly feel the need to explain yourself, you are often seeking permission from people who were never given authority over your life. And purpose was never designed to wait for human approval. When a person knows who they are, they do not need to defend every step they take. When a person understands their assignment, they do not waste time debating with people who are committed to misunderstanding them. You must learn that not everyone deserves access to your motives. Not everyone deserves access to your process. And not everyone deserves access to the sacred burden God placed in your heart. Some people are not confused about you. They are offended by your clarity. So stop trying to make everyone comfortable with what you were called to do. The need to explain can become a trap because explanation invites argument. Argument invites doubt, and doubt delays movement. And if the enemy cannot destroy your purpose, he will try to delay it by keeping you in conversations that drain your strength and dilute your conviction. You do not have time for that. Your life is too important. Your calling is too weighty. Your future is too expensive. There are moments when the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Silence is not weakness. Silence is discipline. Silence is self-government. Silence is evidence that you have matured beyond the need to react to every opinion, answer every accusation, and attend every misunderstanding. A mature person does not waste words where there is no capacity for wisdom. You see, some people feed on your explanations. They want you to keep talking because the more you talk, the more they think they can control your direction. But when you become silent, you remove their leverage. When you stop defending yourself, you close the courtroom. When you stop arguing, you take your life off trial. And that is power. You were not created to fit into everybody's expectation. You were created to fulfill a purpose. And purpose is never discovered in popularity. Purpose is discovered in alignment. It is discovered in obedience. It is discovered when a person becomes bold enough to say, even if you do not understand me, I must still obey what I was born to do. There are people who will never understand your journey because they were never assigned to your future. Stop trying to explain your vision to those who have no investment in your destiny. Not every ear qualifies to hear your plans. Not every voice qualifies to speak into your life. And not every relationship deserves continued access to your energy. This is why boundaries are essential to purpose. If you have no boundaries, you will spend your life protecting people's feelings while neglecting your own assignment. If you have no boundaries, you will give your time to distractions, your attention to confusion, and your strength to battles that produce no fruit. Purpose requires protection. A vision without protection will be interrupted. A calling without boundaries will be polluted. A destiny without discipline will be delayed. You must learn to say no without guilt. You must learn to step back without apology. You must learn to walk away without writing a speech for people who never intended to honor your conviction. Because the truth is, some people do not want understanding. They want control. They ask for explanations not because they want clarity, but because they want the right to approve or reject your movement. But your destiny is not up for a vote. Your obedience is not a committee decision. What God put in you does not need to be validated by those who cannot see what you see. That is why discernment matters. Discernment helps you recognize what builds you and what drains you. It helps you recognize who strengthens your purpose and who weakens your focus. It helps you identify atmospheres that are incompatible with your future. Because every environment is doing one of two things. It is either feeding your assignment or feeding your distraction. And you cannot afford to live carelessly with your energy. Your emotional energy is a resource. Your peace is a resource. Your focus is a resource. If you spend all of it defending yourself, justifying yourself, and answering every critic, then you will have nothing left to build, create, produce, and become. That is why wise people do not attend every battle. Some conversations are expensive. Some arguments are traps. Some relationships are assignments that have already expired. And maturity is knowing the difference between loyalty and bondage. Walking away is not weakness. Walking away is wisdom when what you are leaving behind no longer supports who you are becoming. There are times when the holiest thing you can do is leave. Leave the argument. Leave the confusion. Leave the manipulation. Leave the atmosphere that keeps pulling you away from your center. Not every exit is failure. Some exits are deliverance. You have to know when a season has ended. You have to know when a door is no longer connected to your future. You have to know when staying is costing you more than leaving. And when that moment comes, you do not need to explain your departure to everyone. Just move. Because movement creates room for alignment. Many people are tired because they are carrying what they were supposed to release. They are still entertaining conversations they outgrew, defending decisions they already made, and seeking approval from people who were never qualified to give it. But when you release what no longer belongs in your life, you create space for what does. Space for peace, space for clarity, space for divine order, space for the right people, the right opportunities, and the right timing. Alignment is not striving to be accepted. Alignment is being positioned correctly. And when you are in alignment, you do not panic over who misunderstands you. You do not collapse because someone disagrees with you. You do not beg people to approve your process. You become anchored in the knowledge that what is for you will require stewardship, not performance. This is why action is always greater than explanation. You can talk about your dream all day. You can explain your decisions with eloquence. You can defend your future with logic. But eventually, words must give way to fruit. Results silence arguments in ways explanations never can. People may debate your intentions, but they cannot debate your consistency forever. They may question your silence, but they cannot deny your growth. They may misunderstand your boundaries, but they will eventually see the evidence of your discipline. Your life must become your answer. Let your progress speak. Let your peace speak. Let your character speak. Let your fruit speak. Because when your life is producing evidence, you no longer need to spend energy producing defense. Real respect is not gained by begging people to understand you. Respect is commanded by the way you carry your life. It is commanded by discipline. It is commanded by restraint. It is commanded by your refusal to abandon your values for acceptance. People may not always agree with you, but they will learn from the standard you set. When you stop negotiating your convictions, people recognize strength. When you stop over-explaining your boundaries, people recognize order. When you stop reacting emotionally to every challenge, people recognize maturity. And that is where authority begins. Authority is not loud. Authority is clear. Authority is stable. Authority is disciplined. My friend, you must come to a place in your life where you no longer measure your value by applause. Because if people's praise can define you, then people's criticism can also destroy you. And anyone who lives on public approval will eventually become a prisoner of public opinion. You cannot fulfill a divine purpose while being addicted to human acceptance. There are assignments that require you to be misunderstood for a season. There are decisions that will offend people who benefited from your lack of boundaries. There are doors you must close that others will call arrogance, even though it is really obedience. There are relationships you must leave that others will call cold, even though it is really wisdom. Do not confuse guilt with conviction. Sometimes the discomfort you feel is simply the price of growth. So the next time someone demands an explanation for a decision you made in peace, remember this: you do not owe everybody a speech. You do not owe everybody access. You do not owe everybody your emotional labor. Some things are too sacred to explain to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. You were born for purpose. You were born for order. You were born for assignment. You were born to carry something meaningful in your generation. Do not let endless explanations rob you of your momentum. Choose silence over unnecessary argument. Choose discipline over emotional reaction. Choose boundaries over guilt. Choose action over talk. Choose purpose over approval. And if necessary, walk away quietly. Not because you are proud, but because you are clear. Not because you are rude, but because you are disciplined. Not because you are weak, but because you have learned that peace is too valuable and purpose is too costly to be wasted on noise. Let them misunderstand for a while. Let them question for a while. Let them talk for a while. But while they are talking, you keep building. While they are doubting, you keep growing. While they are questioning, you keep moving. And in time, your fruit will answer what your mouth never needed to defend. Remember this: you were not born to explain your destiny to everybody. You were born to fulfill it. So stop explaining yourself. Protect your peace, guard your assignment, honor your boundaries, walk in silence when necessary, and let your life become the loudest message you will ever preach.